world, it's Jem here. Thank you for joining me. I hope you are well, and thank you for clicking on how to spot the signs of mental illness in children and young people. I'm going to be going through a list of possible signs to show that your child may be in emotional or mental distress. However, warning, I am not trying to diagnose anyone in this video. I'm not about self-diagnosis. I'm here to provide information and support when I can, and one of the things I want to say here is that we can watch many things on the internet and self-diagnose, and that can be really dangerous. However, if your child or if your child or young person that you are caring for, if you're watching this as a parent or a caregiver, if you do spot some of these signs, it might be worth going to get some support, going to get some more advice, but from a mental health care professional. I am not a mental health care professional, however I do have mental illness, so it makes me somewhat a professional in understanding what the signs and symptoms are, but I am not a qualified professional mental health care provider. Okay, enough of that. Let's just introduce this a little bit more. So mental health problems affect about 1 in 10 children and young people. They include depression and anxiety and other illnesses. Alarmingly though, 70% of children and young people who experience a mental health problem have not had appropriate interventions at a sufficiently early age. Both those statistics were taken from the Mental Health Foundation, and they have lots of information about children and young people's mental health. Symptoms of childhood mental distress: an inability to cope with problems and feelings. So they may be feeling overwhelmed by the smallest thing. A marked personality change. Perhaps they're not as bubbly, or maybe not talking as much. Personalities are very complex here, so that's just one example. There may be other personality changes that you've noticed, and that maybe you're thinking they're not quite the same as they used to be, or they've changed a lot. Changes in eating habits, for example, fear of gaining weight, so possible kind of signs of anorexia, and then someone putting on weight as well, so they might be losing weight, gaining weight. That's another sign that's a possible sign that they could be suffering from mental distress. Angry outbursts, temper tantrums, crying a lot, so they've got out of control emotions. If you're feeling that they're very quick to get angry, very quick to cry, very quick to go into temper, then that could be another sign. Complaints of physical aches and pains, for example, headaches and abdominal pain. Now, when we are suffering from mental distress, different things happen within our body, different systems are working at either a reduced capacity or they're overworking. So this could lead to pain, such as digestive pain, or even headaches, just tension headaches, stress headaches. So if they're complaining a lot about being in pain, and it's not kind of to do with any other illness such as flu or other illnesses that cause pain, or other infections or viral infections, then that could be a sign as well. And I'm saying could be a sign. You need to really have most of these to, I would say, have a diagnosis. One of them may be just a change because of hormonal changes. There's lots of changes that are going on throughout a child's life to a young person. Hormones, puberty, all of that kind of stuff. So some of these could be signs of that. But if you have a lot of these symptoms, then definitely go and get some help. So substance abuse, so taking alcohol or drugs, maybe street drugs, and this is starting to impact on every aspect of their lives. Obviously they're underage as well, so this isn't a good thing, but if that's something that they are going towards, it could be a sign that they're in mental distress and using drugs and alcohol to cope with what's going on. Antisocial behaviour and defiance of authority, so they could be arguing with people and really being testing and trying, and this could be something that has an impact on relationships, a breakdown of communication, another sign that they could be in mental distress. Negative thoughts and thoughts of death, so pessimistic perhaps about the future. Change in sleeping habits, they may be sleeping less, sleeping more, complaining about nightmares or vivid dreams. So the next one, worsening school performance. Perhaps their grades are low, perhaps they are phoning in sick to school and their attendance is low, and there just seems to be maybe some issues going on with their performance at school, then this could be a sign. However, this could just be a sign that they're they are crying for help, they need support, they need more help, they need to talk to someone, and not this doesn't necessarily mean that they're having some form of mental illness. It just means that they could just be wanting to reach out for some help and don't know how to. Anxiety and excessive worrying or guilt, unreasonable phobias that interfere with normal activities. So perhaps they've suddenly become more agoraphobic, so they don't want to go outside. They're struggling to maintain friendships outside of the house. They're struggling to leave the house in the first place, maybe having panic attacks, maybe going into big crowds, they're having panic attacks, or any sort of form of anxiety. And with that sometimes comes a lot of guilt. Guilt is sort of comes from that anxiety side of things. I understand guilt very well. I have that constant guilt, that worry that I've not done something, I've let someone down, and that could be another sign of possible mental distress. So the next one is low self-esteem and low self-confidence. So they may be kind of feeling a lot less about themselves, feeling worthless, helpless, hopeless, and maybe not showing as much confidence as they used to be. Again, this could be that there is something wrong, so communication is important here. Try and find out what is going on. Hyperactivity or reduced energy levels. So they could be kind of very, very agitated sometimes, or they could feel like they are being very slow and moving through treacle. Social withdrawal, so maybe they're seeing a lot less of their friends, going out a lot less, maybe staying in their room, feeling more sort of isolated, and perhaps that is then making things even harder for them to leave the house. Inability to concentrate, so they're struggling with their workload at school. They could even be having hallucinations or delusions, which can be very, very serious if not seen to. So again, try and find out exactly what's going on with them, and then seek care from a mental health care provider or just your general practitioner. Odd or repetitive movements, e.g. head banging or tapping or rocking, this could be a sign of severe mental distress, and they could really, really need some support when this is going on. They need support with all of these things, not just with that, but just to make sure you're communicating with them, finding out what's going on, and looking for ways to support them as best you can, without being their therapist, without sort of being primary carer for them. Get some support, get some help, so that you can help, work with them to help them feel better. Unusual ways of speaking, so they may be speaking fast or too slow. Self-harm behaviours such as cutting or punching or bruising in some way. And then finally, ritualistic behaviour such as extreme need for symmetry or excessive checking or tidying. So some of those things could link to OCD, and very important to get that looked at too. So just to say at the end here, I'm not trying to diagnose. Again, I'm never trying to diagnose, but some of these symptoms, all of these symptoms, if they are being displayed in any of your children or young people that you care for, then get the help as soon as possible, because these things won't go away. I'm not here to scare you. I'm just here to raise awareness, talk about mental illness, and give you as much information as I can. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and check out all the information in the comments. Gosh, I say that so much. Check out all the information in the description from the Mental Health Foundation, and also a fantastic article from the Royal College of Nursing that gives a lot more information about child mental health. Take care, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care.